Hello and welcome back to Where Feng Shui Meets Fashion. I have a guest today, Gail Minogue, and she is a numerologist. So welcome, Gail. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here in this beautiful apartment.
Oh,
Beautiful
thank you.
apartment. Beautiful.
You've been doing this work for how long and how did you get into it?
First of all, I was in business. I never expected to be, quote, a numerologist, and I didn't know what that was. I didn't even know my sign. And so back in the 80s, I had just purchased a house in Texas, in Houston, and I had gone there to open up a local office for a big company. It was called Sprint at the time.
Oh, okay.
And,
A phone company.
Yes, it was
Okay.
a big phone company. I thought that was a metaphor. I guess it's all long distance.
Communication.
It's all long distance. Anyway, so to open that, I bought a house, and one night I just had a visitor, and a visitor who's not of this world.
Oh,
And basically instructed me to study Pythagoras and Zen, and I had no idea what it was. Like a priestly figure, what it was talking about. And
was it in a dream? Was it just an
Well,
apparition or a download? Like how?
no,
did
it wasn't a
this-
download. It was there, standing in the room, but it was almost like a hologram. But it was an individual, this priestly figure. I can't give it any other direction. It was a male,
So cool.
and it was telling me to study Pythagoras and Zen, and that was it.
As the plane flies
You know,
over us.
well, I don't even hear it.
I hear all that. I'm like, oh God.
Don't worry about it.
I hope that it
They
doesn't.
you don't care if they have ambient sound. I just
think it's sort of symbolic because it's like the flight, and then you have this like sort of otherworldly figure
yeah.
present itself to
well,
you.
it really, we're like, if you can look at this place called your visit here, you're just here on a visit to learn, experience, and leave. So you can't get attached here. And so anyway, I began the study of Pythagoras, which I was corrected by the Greeks who studied that's not how you say the word. It was Pythagoras, which is how it was told to me.
Pythagoras.
It was Pythagoras. It wasn't Pythagoras. Anyway, I began to study that, and that went into sacred geometry.
I love sacred
So then
geometry.
You begin to learn,
Okay.
the music of the spheres, the sounds the planets give, and
The arc of perfection.
well, everything is in an order. I mean, the Bible even tells you your days are numbered. So there's a complete geometric, setup going on here, and so we have to understand we fit in that. While we're here, we're working in that environment. So people need to know, what the heck did I come here for?
Yeah, so numerology is kind of like a blueprint.
It is completely a blueprint. And everything is a blueprint. If I move into an apartment building, it's a blueprint for that. When was it built? What's the number of my apartment? What's the number on the building? There's a blueprint for a corporation. When did it start? What's the office number? All of that. And when did that city get born? When did that state get born? When did the United States get born?
So this ties in with astrology as well.
Well, you can fit it with it,
Sort.
but you need to have the blueprint to fit the. I call numerology the actual blueprint of the house, and then the rooms in there, astrology, which move all around. But you work them together because your energy package is in your astrology, but the package itself, the blueprint, is in the numbers.
Yeah.
So you have to have that literal geometric shape, form, what have you, for it to all work.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and one of the things that led me to become more interested in it was, my work in feng shui. I would, obviously I look at the shape of the house and all this stuff, but I realized the numerology was super important.
Super important.
And so I have my first big question for you on house numerology, is apartment numerology. Which do you emphasize more, the unit number or the unit number added to the building number?
Unit.
That's what I thought, but somebody tried to tell me
No.
it's the cumulative, the unit.
No,
plus the building
you have
number.
your unit in this large composite, which is the overall building number. You don't add the building number to your unit number. No.
Yeah, right.
So you move into unit, like this is unit 8.
Yes.
So then you're in unit 8, and that figures a wholly different package of what you have moved into. If you moved into a number like an 8 and you do not have an 8 in your name, it's a karmic lesson, and it activates the karma.
Yeah, and that's the other
So
thing.
you want to avoid
any
any
space.
space that is your missing number.
in your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's something new that, you know, when I first started doing it, I would look at the unit number and the house number and tell people, oh, this is the theme of the house. You know,
Yeah.
one is singular, great for beginnings, blah, blah, blah.
Right,
2, great for
right.
couples, great for partnering,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But then I realized there was more to it from your book, Divine Design. So Gail wrote a book called Divine Design.
I wrote a book. It's Divine Design, How You Created the Life You Are Living. And you did. You create a name before birth. And then you impress this name upon your parents' subconscious to give to you at birth. So you name yourself. A lot of people don't like their names. And that's okay, because once you get here, that blueprint is there. And you just take apart the name and you find out what's the code. And there's the code. You know, A is a 1, B is a 2, C is a 3. You take it all apart and you can see, what kind of personality am I working with?
Right.
What did I say I'd come in with? What's driving me in this lifetime is from the vowels. The most important letter of your name is your first vowel of your first name. That's the most important letter of your name. First vowel, first name.
First vowel, not first letter.
Not first letter.
So A would be mine, I guess.
Yeah. So the first vowel, it tells you a lot about that individual characteristics. Like you'll notice in many of the most powerful people, their first vowel is an O. And if you just go through the presidents of the United States, it's John, it's Joseph, it's Robert, it's Donald, it's Ronald. So you have to look at that, but you find that and very few women have first vowel as an O. A lot of men do. Tom, Thomas, John, Joseph, Bob, you know, they all have this first vowel O.
Okay.
Very few women do, like Chloe, Zoe. I mean, the names for Monica, Mona, these are not their names, but they're not used a lot.
Right.
They're the power names.
Interesting.
But you don't see them in females. So if female want to develop more power, they need to start using their first vowel as an O. And parents need to call their name of that child with an O. So Chloe, Zoe, you know, whatever, Monica, Mona, you know, keep going until you find more names with the first vowel O. And I really believe that if you had more women with first vowel O, you would have more powerful women.
That is interesting. So we need to start naming our daughters with
the first vowel as an O.
Yeah, I need to do some research on some O
so
names.
You've got to find, and you find that they're much harder to find for female than they are men. There's just tons of them.
Yeah, I guess if my parents had spelled my name L-O instead of L-A-U-R-A,
yes,
that would have been more powerful.
L-O-R-I-E is more powerful.
Interesting.
You know, or right.
Maybe I'll change it. But
you
then
you can.
I know once the blueprint is set.
Yeah, you can use any name you want after that, but the blueprint's always working on you.
Yeah.
So you don't have a choice. It's there whether you like it or not. You can't get rid of it.
And that's something that you emphasize in your book, that it's your name at birth, even if you get married and your name changes, or you're like Madonna and you change it to whatever. People, Prince changing his name, all that stuff.
A lot of celebrities a lot of people change their names. They don't like their names, or when they reach a different level of success, they change their name.
Sure.
Especially if you get into the celebrity world, they change their name, or sometimes they only have one name, but that's not their blueprint at all. That's the name they use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so now when I'm doing my feng shui work, so I look at from your book, and I learned this. This is why I'm so excited to have you. I was like a fangirl.
Oh, well.
And somebody turned me on to you. So like I dated this guy actually, and he was like, "Oh, you should check her out." Yeah, so that was interesting. And then, it was brief, but like he introduced me to you, so I took it as like,
that's
hey,
great. Yeah, like there's no accident here.
Never.
The only reason we think it's accident because we don't know the thread. We can't see the invisible thread that's connecting you to this, to that, from past life situation, karmic, all this stuff's going on because we can't see the thread. Yeah. But there is a thread.
Always.
Yeah, there's always a thread.
So I went from just looking at the unit or house number to then looking at the name, what the missing letter, learned that from you. And then, so, and it's so powerful because if I'm looking at a space, I need to know like how compatible are they with the space.
Yes.
And then also it's not, if it's a couple, then they're each going to have a different relationship with the space.
Yes, totally.
Based on their...
It may be good for one partner, but bad for the other.
Exactly. And so you want to kind of find that middle ground.
Anytime you're going to move, always connect with me because you should not make a move if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Always, because people, they'll come after they've moved and they'll say, what do I think about that? And I'm like, I think you should have gotten ahead of me before you made this move, and then I would have told you what to look for. What are the good that are going to work for you? And this is so not, people just go ahead and they get it, they like it, but they don't understand how it's not going to work.
Right. And I get the same thing with feng shui. I have a moving tips, like my last podcast was on moving tips and like red flags to look out for, what to avoid, what I'm just like, there's always cures in feng shui, but you're still living with this issue.
In that nasty space.
Yeah.
You can feng shui till the cows come home, but it's still harder.
Yeah.
And then you get these locks, in feng shui, you get locks. And so you have a money lock or some other lock, and you're going to have to wait that out. Until that lock is done.
But here's the thing. I also believe, like I was telling you about the 4 house that I lived in.
Right.
And we were talking about how I have a missing 4 in my name. So I have karma with that number. And it was, but I don't regret having lived there. I would never live in another 4.
No,
but I wouldn't have been, because I was able to see, so that space was not only a 4, but it was an L shape. So it was missing a bunch of guas. And one of them was the career gua. Well, that was the main one that it was missing. And then it was missing a little bit of, travel and helpful people, which is kind of important too. They're all important, but career, the irony is,
God,
I used to live in San Francisco. I got transferred for a job to LA.
Okay.
Into this, and I did. It was a beautiful house that I took sight unseen. Big mistake. This is before I was a feng shui lady.
Oh, okay.
So I took it because it was a 1920s beautiful Spanish casita kind of thing.
They are beautiful.
So pretty. But it was an odd shape, and it was a 4 numerology. Uh-huh. And so I moved in, and I was like, oh. I messed up. I knew enough about numerology and feng shui to know I was like, I had an issue. Hey, Sage, don't do that. My cat is jumping on the table. So I moved in and I got a feng shui consultation. That changed my life because I was able to see like all this stuff. And one of the first things that she told me, so there was no career gua in my office. Was in the love gua of the space. And she's like, no, you should never do that. And I had a lot of feng shui is handed down and you have to go to school for it. And there's different schools of feng shui. But I hadn't heard that it was bad to have your office in the love gua. And she's like, oh no, because it becomes your primary relationship, which it was. And and there's imbalance and you don't make room for love, that kind of thing. So now this is the interesting part. As soon as I moved that desk, I think I moved into the family gua because there was no career gua. What other options? There weren't that many options, right? So I moved it there, and within like a week, I was laid off from the job that had just paid to move me to LA, and I was like, what the?
I know. That's really bad.
And so
that's hard.
There was but the thing is
so hard.
I could have blamed it on her. Was it the feng shui? Was it the whatever? But the thing is, there was no career gua in that house and it was so beautiful, and I didn't want to leave it. But the entire time I lived there, I could not get a job. I could not get another job.
Well, it could also depend on the year it was too in your chart. I mean, if it was,
it could be astrological too.
It could be. Everybody has a personal year. And if you went into that house in a 4 personal year or that apartment, you weren't going anywhere.
Oh, that would be interesting. Well,
so you need to look at your personal year as well as, is this a good time to move? Yes or no? And sometimes it is a nasty time to move and you just have to wait a year.
But here's the thing. The narrative, that's what I called my feng shui business narrative space. The narrative was you are living in a 4 home. 4 is in Chinese, 4 rhymes with death. So it means the end of, it doesn't necessarily mean a literal death, but it means the end of a chapter, some sort of completion. And sometimes it could literally mean death, but not most of the time. That's not what it is. And there's no career gua. So the narrative was like, no career gua, the end of a chapter. And I didn't really love that job, but it paid really well. It paid really well. And here's the thing, I'd feng shuied the heck out of it. I didn't even get mad at the feng shui consultant. I was like, oh, I can see how my life is reflected in this space, the 4 energy, the L shape, the missing gua. And I got a 6-month severance. And I was making very good money. plus unemployment, plus my family was very supportive. So I was able to live there for an entire year in what I call an enforced, vacation,
Yeah, that's nice. That is
staycation.
nice.
Um,
Yeah.
and I looked for a job the entire time, and it wasn't until the second I let go of that apartment, I got a job.
What was what year was this that this happened?
Okay, wait. This is 2025. This was 2008, 2008.
2008, which is a 1 year.
Okay.
So that, and then you were born on December 26th.
Yes.
So we've got 3 and 8, which is 2.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it was 2, and you have to add that to the universal year. And it was 2008, which is a 1. So it was a 3-year, which is not really bad. I mean, it was.
No, you know what?
Timing was good.
I had a lot of fun in that house. I had lots of parties.
Yeah.
And I know it was
the thing about your chart is it's at an ending part of a year, which the next thing after that is a 4. So you're right on the edge. You're like you live in two kind of worlds, because you're there at the edge of the old and the beginning of the new, which is that January kind of feel.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. You always have to look at the prior year and the coming up year in your chart, because you're born at the end of the year.
Yeah. So it was an interesting time. It was a catalyst for me. Mm-hmm, so I became really fixated on feng shui after that. I could see my story playing out in the space. And then I was like, I let go of this apartment. And as soon as I did, I got a job. And the next apartment, believe me, it was not a 4. And it had a full, it was a square or a rectangle. I always get these wide rectangle ones, and that there's meaning behind that. But, and then that was a 5.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
so I went from a 4 to a 5.
That's like total change. It's a great number to market. If you live there, it's good to be self-employed. It's good to market yourself anytime you're in a 5 space. So it's a good place to have your own business.
Yeah.
In a 5.
Well, then I took
But there's a lot of change that goes on.
A lot of change.
A lot of change.
I mean, I didn't stay there for, I used to move a lot until I moved into this apartment. I've been here a long time.
Well, this is a Saturn number. 8 is the Saturn. It's Lord of Karma. So you are living in an 8 energy of Father Cronus, time, all of that. It's a Saturn number. It rules number 8.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm a Saturn girl, being a Capricorn.
Yeah. So this is a Saturn number, and thank goodness you're not missing an 8, or I would just tell you to get out of here.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because that would be very bad. Because it activates the karma of your own life, and you don't need that.
Yeah, I hear that.
So you have to really be very serious about when you make a move to know what you're getting into. And people don't, and then they get stuck, or they waste money,
Absolutely. Timing is everything.
And it goes with businesses too. I had a gentleman in Chicago who had a business, and it was a weight training business. He was a big bodybuilder. He was on TV a lot, so he opens his own place. And what happens is he doesn't go anywhere with this business.
And what was the numerology of it?
Yeah, so the building, or his unit, or the building where he was a number 7.
Okay.
Which is not a business number. It's a very
spiritual.
It's spiritual, more retreat. It's more intellectual. And he said, what can I do? I said, well, you're going to have to convert your bodybuilding into something more than just bodybuilding.
Zen
so
or
we
something?
we had it painted from whatever he had, like, how bodybuilding places are. They're hard charge, a very light lavender. That 7 is the color is purple and lavender.
Nice.
So we made it welcome to the 7, and then we added yoga classes and meditation,
bring in the spiritual
and
stuff.
Everything picked up
all of a sudden because
it was the right. You couldn't just do bodybuilding in a 7. It doesn't want that.
You were aligning with the theme.
You
of
can
the
walk
space.
into an office and know the number. Just look at the carpet. It's so subconscious. You pick these things out, but it's not an accident.
Well, tell them what your reaction was when you came in here.
I said, I said to her, oh, this is a lot of 3, 6, and 9 here, because this is a place full of color. It's beautiful colors, wonderful. Everything has a color. This color for the table, chairs, and over here the plants. It's just lovely, and big flower displays and all that stuff. And so this is usually a person who has a lot of 3, 6, or 9, because The creative number is the 3. Higher level of that is the 6. Higher level of that is the 9. And then Laura told me that her life path is the 9 and her destiny is a 6. But it shows when you walk in.
And I thought that was so interesting because it's like, and also you mentioned that it's the multiplication of that 3, so it's even more 3 being a 9, and even more 3 being a 6. It's just multiplying that 3 energy.
Totally. So it's great. If you have a lot of 3, 6, or 9, you want to have beauty and art. It's the beauty numbers. These are the beauty numbers: 3, 6, and 9.
I love aesthetics, and obviously that's why I was drawn to feng shui.
Beauty. Yeah. So what you're trying to do, because you have a 9 life path, is relieve suffering. And people suffer in the wrong environment all the time.
Absolutely.
So a 9 is always about improving the human condition, which she does, and she relieves suffering by having to live in a space that isn't conducive to your highest and best good. So this is a powerful work.
I have another question on what do you do with fractions? Like an apartment with a fraction.
So there's a lot of places in LA
with fractions
that have a half number. So it's unit 1/2.
Yeah, what am I supposed to freaking do with that?
That's 3. Add them together.
Oh, the 1 and the 2? I thought you had to do like 0.50 maybe.
No,
I was like, oh my God.
Just add them together.
So if it's 3/4,
so if
it's 4
8 and a half, so 8 plus 3. So
oh,
whatever.
Thank you. Nobody spells that out anywhere.
Spells that out anywhere. No, it's a lot of stuff they don't spell. The same with the license plate. They don't spell that out. That's essential. Because a license plate number, usually you go to the DMV and you get a license plate, usually, unless you do like in California, they have personal plates. But usually, that's not an accident either. Because a license plate tells the world not how you are, but how you want to be seen.
I have to do my license plate. We were
talking
about this.
So when you change your license plate number, say you move to another state, you get a different license plate, DMV picks it out. It's no accident. Because now this is how you want to be seen by the world.
Interesting.
So a lot of people, it's completely opposite of how they are, but this is how they want you to see them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So license plate are big giveaways. First vowel in the first name is a big giveaway. The most important letters of your name are the first vowel, the last letter of your first name, and the first letter of your first name. So if you just know those 3 things and what they indicate, you can tell a lot about a person, and they don't tell you anything else. They can just tell you that. And that's And the other thing too is, like, my name is Gail, was Gail.
Right.
And so my first vowel is an A, and the A's are the people who do all the work and don't get the credit.
Oh my God, that's me too.
They empty the ashtray. Everybody goes to bed after a big party, and the 5 will empty the ashtrays and do the dishes and clean up. But they don't get the credit for that. They just come down in the morning to see that it got done. So A's get stuff done, and then O's they want to be the boss. They want to be in charge. Blah blah blah. And so if you look at Donald Trump, there you go, or Ronald Reagan, or Robert Kennedy.
Just powerful.
They want it. Whether they can handle it or whether they're good at it is another question. But they want that. So when you see that in a person, whether it's a female or like Donna, there's a part of Donna that wants to be the boss.
Donna.
No matter how they tell you. In the first letter, Gail, Gail, if I look at that name, the last letter is L. And that signifies that in this lifetime, my success is later. And if you just keep going, the longer you live, the later it goes, the bigger the success. So it's like a lot of people give up on their lives early. But if they have an ending letter L in their first name, they have a long success ahead, which starts usually later in life.
I think I read in your book, and I've seen some videos where you talk about over 50, because people are like, there's such a youth-obsessed culture.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
But you were talking about how it's you become more powerful, or
you
more
become
yourself.
More into it. You don't see a lot of the people that have been picked on this quote cabinet. They've not even reached their 50th, so they're not even integrated yet. It takes the soul comes in on, again, a number numerological session of every 7th birthday. It downloads everything it learned the prior 7 years. So you have age 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56. When you do 7 of these 7 soul cycles, or 49, this is when you begin to integrate. So that takes 1 year, so 49 to 50. Then you start your real adult life at 50, making better decisions. You have a backdrop of experiences. And most of the people who are in these, quote, they write memoirs and they haven't even gotten out of their 30s. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's like, what do you have to say?
What do you mean? You have, a blueprint.
You're a baby.
A blueprint is
Yeah.
120 years.
Interesting.
So most people, they don't have any plans for retirement, which is unfortunate. If you do not know what you want to do between 60 and 63, you will automatically start reverting to childhood. And by the time you get to your 80s, you're hairless, you're diapers, you're this, you're that, you're functioning out.
You have to stay present.
You have to plan this part of your life or have goals or desires just like you did when you were 25.
Yeah, or else you just...
And our society isn't built like that. Their society is built, get out of here, you're 65, or get out of here, you're 50. And a lot of people, they want to retire at 55. I was like, what? Because we set it up, a lot of government jobs. So 55, you're out of here. And then they take another job anyway. But we have artificial
all
man-made.
That is changing though.
Yeah,
all that stuff because people aren't staying in corporate jobs like they used to.
No. Everything is changing. Even this is a time period where even in America, the centralized government is being disrupted to be destroyed,
dismantled, basically.
Being dismantled. And so we didn't have a centralized government till the Civil War. That's when we took the power of the central government. So now this is coming unglued and more power to the states. Whether we continue with representative government we have, the United States goes through these big 50-year, 80-year cycles.
Right,
and that's what it's in.
Speaking of which, this is a 9-year, and I think we should talk about it because it's also the year of the snake.
Yes, it is.
From a feng shui perspective, which is death and rebirth, shedding a skin. It's more of a yin year from that perspective, more of a
it's a wood snake, I think.
Yes.
It's a wood snake? Or?
Yes, and it's more behind the scenes. Like last year was a go for it, kind of more of a yang year, the year of the dragon. Yeah. But this is a very different energy. But I would love to hear your thoughts on it from a numerology perspective.
Well, it's a 9-year, 20. When we say a 9, it's universal 9-year, which is 2025. You add that all together, you get a 9. So around the whole world, there's a lot of completion going on. There's a lot of old way of doing things dying. And you could so go whether it's in Europe or whether it's in the Middle East or whether it's old systems are dying. And these, nationalist groups are coming in. They're trying to take the place of. So there's a system whether it's the EU or they're breaking down. And this is an ending period, which is the 9 universal year. So everyone's a bit affected by this.
Yeah, it's the end of a cycle. And then, a girlfriend of mine who's not a numerologist, but she's very woo, was saying she's also a 9 like me. Yes. She's like, 9 years are supposed to affect us even more as 9 people. Is that true?
No, you have to look at your personal year.
Okay, well, my personal year is
again,
1. It should be great.
You're a combination, though, because you're born at the end of the year. So you have to look at what was 2024 for you.
It was a 9-year.
Okay, so you're still in a 9-year.
Wait, no. This is a 1 year for me.
Okay, but you're born at the end of the year, so you can't expect this year to take off like a 1 year.
Oh. When does it get good?
As you get closer. So you're always going to be in the prior year's energy and the new year's energy. Both.
Because I'm
you're
born at the end of the year.
Yes.
Oh, the curse.
Well, it's not. It's how you play it.
True. Especially if the last year was a good one. So does it kind of start to kick in more by mid-year?
Yeah, mid-year. Uh-huh.
Okay. So I was getting confused. Yes, this is technically a 2-year for me. Last year was a 1 year, but the year before that was a 9-year.
You're still in a 1 year.
But I'm still in the 1 year, which
you're still in the 1,
sense.
and then you get further on into the year, you'll start picking up the 2 energy.
I guess where I was going is that my 9-year was the year that my cat Lola died, and then I adopted 2 more cats, and they were little kittens, and they got FIP, which is like AIDS for cats, and they both died. So I had 3 cats die in a row. All my everything was just like death.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
My mother, when she died, I was in a 9-year when she died, which is the ending for me. She died in September, in the 9th month, and she died on the 9th day of September. And the death certificate said she died in the 9th hour at 9:14.
Jeez.
In my 9 years. So it was the 9th month, the ninth day, and the ninth hour in my 9 year. So 9 years are big endings. And it doesn't mean somebody has to die, but something's going to end, whether it's a job or a way of life, it's going to end.
Yeah. So I
And
had
you have
a
to
lot
let
of
it go. You have to let it go.
I had a lot of that in my 9 year. Then last year was 1, and I did a lot of like a lot of stuff for my business and training stuff.
Yeah.
And then this year I thought was going to be like cool coast, but it's still, I don't know. But then
you're still in that one energy, so enjoy it. Keep building anew and planting your seeds, and then as you get into, then you'll learn more of like patience and all that the second half of the year.
But I feel like I'm feeling more the universal year because of my mom dying with the whole 9 energy and stuff, and also the snake year. So I'm just like, that seems to be a little bit of a bigger theme. Plus the astrology's been all wonky. This month we have
the
2
transits
eclipses
going on. There's 2 eclipses this month. I'm in an 8 year, and I am born in the year of the snake, but I'm not a green snake. I'm a metal snake.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm a metal snake. So I had to put metal underneath the couches and all this stuff.
Oh, you did all your feng shui.
I did all my feng
stuff.
shui,
Good
and
for
even
you.
and have to have it done yearly because it changes every year.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And then see, this yin, I forget what it's called, but the negative direction of the year is over there.
Okay.
And so I put the little black dog because I heard that was the cure, and then this is protecting. That it's called Pin Yao or something like, I forget. Anyway, it's this little animal that protects, and you point it towards the negative direction.
Yeah, that's good.
It wasn't the original school of feng shui that I studied. I studied Reform School, well, which is the original school of feng shui, and then later came compass and directional practices. And I only recently started adopting some of the more directional practices.
You might want to take a look at a website called Invisible Architecture. And she's terrific. She's a real teacher, and steeped in also sacred geometry.
Oh,
and
I love that
she's
stuff.
really, really, so some of the stuff I'm like, whoa, but I enjoy it, but I don't follow it, that much. But boy, is it a doozy as far as information for you. It would be really successful.
Yeah.
And she lives in LA.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, before you leave,
I'll give that to you so you have that.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is that if you have missing numbers, I want to get this home to people.
Okay.
Is so you have your birth name, what was registered at birth is your real name. You may hate it. It's okay. You can call yourself anything you want once you get here. However, work the name you were registered with and understand the vowels separate from the consonants. The personality is in the consonants. So B, D, F, all the consonants. And the soul number, or what drives you, what motivates you, is in the vowels. So you can always tell, if you can get the full birth name of a person, you can tell a tremendous amount of information, whether they're off their rocker or whatever. And the birthday gives you your timing for everything. And that's essential because people do things at the wrong time. You want to do it to your advantage. Like I was in a 7 year last year, 2024.
Right.
And that was a 7 year, and I'm born in February. So everything is right on the money as far as things happening universally for me as well. So what I found, which I already know, that you do not push in a 7 year. You do not push. Don't try to be productive. Relax. And if you do not, then the universe will find ways to put you down, which it did. That's why you need to pay attention to your timing. A 7 year is when you step out. Soil rests in the 7th year. Everything goes by this.
Cycles.
It rules nature. The 7 year cycles of the soul, 777.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you go against it, you will regret it.
I mean, it's all math. The whole universe.
Yeah, the whole universe is math.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I ended up in Chicago as a commodity broker, which I had no idea of being a commodity broker. But I thought, well, and here I am with all this math. And but it's phenomenal. And you begin to, you'll go somewhere, well, that's a 2. Or you listen to a person talk to you, well, there are 4. Or you think, oh boy.
I wow. Go more like astrology. I'm like, oh, that's a Leo, that's a Capricorn.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm an Aquarian, so I'm like,
well, that makes sense because it's like kind of heady,
It's very heady. I'm very heady. But I have more earth in my chart than I have air.
What's your rising?
Aries.
Oh, wow, that's spicy.
Yeah.
And what's your moon?
Gemini.
Oh, you are really like
Yeah.
interesting.
And my Mars is in Sag.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that is just, I'm able to put together a lot of disjointed information and see where it fits. And that's where it is. You know, it's like pick up on that of what is really, how this goes with that and that over there. And this fits here. And, you know, just like that.
I want to go back to your impetus for becoming a numerologist, that vision that you had,
Yeah.
or the apparition.
Well, what happened is it was there. I mean, he was there, and then I had another visit.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Like, did you ever have another?
Yeah, I began to study, and everywhere I went, nobody said there's no such thing as Pythagoras and Zen. It's either you study Pythagoras or Pythagoras, or you study Zen. There's not together, and I didn't know what they were talking about. But it kept leading me to more people that knew stuff about this, and then I took an interest in it, and it was more like a vocation. It wasn't anything I took seriously, but I found it fascinating and accurate. And then I had a couple of readings done on me, and I'm like, how do you know that? And he could tell me all this about myself. And I'm like, how do you know that? And that's what I began to study. And then,
so was he a mentor? The person
he was written up in the newspaper. He had moved to Houston from New York City, and he was a businessman who knew numerology. And
I would think it'd be useful.
So I contacted him out of the blue, and I said, hey, and he started rattling off all about me on the phone. I'm like, how do you know that? And he said, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And so it was great. And that piqued my interest.
Interesting.
And then, it wasn't until years later that I even considered. I was in Chicago for a Halloween party, and I was going to move back to California. Texas was not my
cup of tea.
Yes. So anyway, I was moving back, and this friend said, well, why don't you come to this Halloween party? And I'm like, well, I'm going to leave. She says, well, there's going to be a lot of television people there, so why don't you come? So I go, and then somebody asked me, like, I did this gentleman. What about that? And I was able to tell them, and then they said, so could you come in the kitchen with me? And I sat in the kitchen, and I went through stuff. And she wanted to give me money. I said, oh, no, I don't do that. I don't do this. I don't do this for money. No. It's just something I know. And she said, oh, no. And she made me take some money. And I'm like, good God. And that was just the beginning.
Interesting.
I never really.
So, but at some point you quit your job and you started. I did. And when was that? Like how long?
I moved back to California. And I said, I had already built up a following in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And then I came back here, and I started to build up back here. And then I would go back and forth because I would do programs and classes and all this kind of stuff and private sessions, like a lot. And then COVID came, and
Yeah.
And then I think I told you my husband had this terrible brain injury. So that kind of like between COVID and the brain injury,
really,
it was just like, I didn't have time. I didn't have energy.
Sure.
And now just like the L in my name, well, just wait till the latter part of your life and you'll keep doing this. So that's what's happening.
Okay. So then I get the trajectory.
Yeah.
And this whole last letter of the name. So if my first vowel and then the last letter of my name are both the same, A, that doesn't bode well, does it?
No, that's fine. It's just fine. It's just that happened to be that one letter A as the final. I mean, you have to go through the whole alphabet to do all the last letters of a person's name, but that's like a class. But no, each one has a significance. I'm just saying that letter L.
But the significance of, I guess what I'm stuck on is because you already said that A was like you don't get appreciated or rewarded.
It doesn't come off as a power like an O does. Right.
But to have a double A, I'm like, does that mean I'm never going to get appreciated?
No. It's the vowel in that position, but that is nothing to do with your last letter of your first name. It's the first vowel.
But it's also the last letter of my first name.
Yeah, but it's not your first vowel. Your first vowel is an A.
Yeah, and it's the last letter of my name.
But the last letter doesn't have the same significance as the first vowel.
Okay, so then what does the A at the end of the name?
The A is again, it's more innovative.
Okay.
Okay. More initiating. all of the good things around the letter 1.
Oh, so it has a different significance.
It has a different, the significance of the last letter is totally different than the significance of the first vowel.
Got it. But even if they're the same.
Even if they're the same.
That's what I was confused about. I'm like, but it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a totally different position.
All right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of confusing to me because it's still the same letter.
You want to look
I get it.
Remember, the first vowel is the most important letter.
Yes.
And a Y has a lot of significance, if you have like Lin, because we use it as a vowel. And that's a very powerful letter. It has a lot of significance. But if you see that the Y, it goes in 2 different directions. There's always quality about that person that can be 2 different people.
Oh, kind of like a Gemini.
Well, I don't have a Y, not necessarily like a Gemini, but they could have like prior lives where they had to say they were at an Inquisition.
Oh.
So back in the Inquisition, they were Jewish, but they had to practice Catholicism.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Something like that.
Where you're kind of living dual.
You had to be that way to survive.
This is Cinnamon. You haven't met
pretty.
her yet. Yeah.
Oh, you're so pretty. These are beautiful cats.
Yeah,
she has gorgeous cats. They're so sweet. Yeah, they're beautiful. Wow.
She's decided to join us. Interesting.
Okay.
Anywho, okay. So what can you tell people about, how to navigate this 9-year that we're all kind of in the soup?
Well, allow things to end and stop clinging to stuff that wants to leave. And a lot of people are clinging to, because it's very hard to let go for the most part, because we get so attached here. If you have a prominent 9 in your chart, you have to learn detachment.
Oh, trust me, I know.
You can't survive without that. Otherwise, it becomes too painful. So it's the final lesson is the number 9. There's no other number after it. It just goes 10, 11, 12. And so we go 1 in the beginning, we initiate, and 9 is the ending where we let go. So this is a lot of letting go for all these countries.
Yeah.
And you're watching it happen. Look at Europe. They're forced to let go of their safe position where they could rely on another country to take care of them. And they can. And they're forced to really grow up.
So to speak.
Yeah. They are. And, I understand it that they need to pull their fair share in defending themselves instead of the United States doing it. But so that's an ending of that way of being.
Yeah,
there's
you can
go around the world and
so
do the whole thing.
many shifts in the world, and
right,
just like
the United States is a 5 life path.
Right,
the United States was born July 4, 1776, so it's a 5 life path, and it's a catalyst of change for the world.
Okay,
so it was formed to be a catalyst of change. So what it does is creating change constantly.
Yeah,
and its big job always for it to be even existing was to usher in the Aquarian age and to learn to assimilate all different kinds of characters from around the world and then market assimilation to the world. So it has to first learn assimilation here, and it struggles.
Yeah.
It struggles a lot.
Okay, so I know I want people to get your book, Divine Design.
Yes.
And I want to talk about the different numbers that they can find in there, because we have our destiny number.
That's the full name. You take all the letters of the name and add it together as your destiny.
And okay, so tell us all the different, because there's a bunch of, there's a soul urge, there's a destiny number, there's a life path.
The consonants of your name, take them all together, the consonants, equals your personality. This is the kind of personality you're using to work through this life.
And what do you call that one? Is that the destiny number?
It's the personality.
Or the life path?
No,
okay.
It's the personality number. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's from the consonants.
Consonants.
The vowels of your name will tell you what motivates you, where you're coming from. And so my vowel is a 44-8, which is a master number. So what motivates me is people don't understand that. What does that 44-8 represent? So I'm a bridge deep down between the spiritual world and material world. So I go back and I go forward. I go back and over again. And I bring it from there into here, and I go back, doing that there. So it's handling money, power, and success. I don't have any missing numbers. in
Oh,
my
you have
name. No,
zero missing
no, I
numbers.
don't have
Oh,
any.
lucky you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was an accident. I obviously planned it that way because we plan our life. That doesn't mean I won't have it in the future, but I didn't for this lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's all from the vowels. So as you with your
So you
vowel,
can live anywhere.
I can live anywhere.
Yeah.
And I
Except
do
I don't
because I'm a
recommend
5.
4 because what a
I lived
drag.
1 year in a 4, and that cured me. I would never move in a 4
Ugh,
again.
I
Even
know.
if I don't have karma in the 4, I would never move in there again.
Oh, and the Chinese won't do it. Oh my
No,
God.
I don't blame them. I used to live in Hong Kong, and I don't blame them at all. And then my soul number's an 8, and my destiny's a 9.
Okay.
And that destiny is from all the numbers, all the letters in my name.
Okay, so
the destiny is what you're striving to reach in your lifetime and your plan. That's from all of the letters in your name. The first, middle, last, if you had 2 last names, you have to add them all. What was ever registered for you. And then you have to take a look at individually, what's the personality I created, which is a 1. So I initiate. So if you're standing in a line, it's very, very long, and you hear somebody yell, hey, get somebody out here to help us, that will be me. And that's a 1 personality.
Yeah.
And I've started a lot of different things in this life using that 1 to get stuff off the ground. And then the 8 is really about money, time. It's about resources. And because it's a 44, which is a master number, you go, it's a more spiritual number, but it's in the material. You have to learn how to combine the spiritual material world.
Yeah.
And then the 9 is, again, the destiny is to let go and stay detached and to be in this world but not of it. You have to learn with a 9 to be in this world but not of it.
Tell me about it.
And you have to do that because you have a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, do you think I've started to think that being a 9 means like maybe I'm not coming back, like it's more of a no.
No.
No, I was kind of hoping.
I know. They say, "Oh, I'm finished here.
I'm done.
No,
you don't have to come back."
No, you make it out of here, and then once the personality gets out of here, then you start. Because when you leave, you take everything you learned with you. You just don't take the physical body, but you take all the senses. They all go with you, and everything you learned goes with you. And then you'll make a decision out of here, working with whoever you're working with on the other side to help you, and then you'll see whether you're able to come back here or you'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But no, it is really fascinating how people get caught up in, well, if I have a 9, I'm not coming back here because this is a finishing number. No, you have just learned a level of consciousness. So you go to another higher rung.
So now the next, and then you
the
probably
next
start
rung,
over.
so you go to
1,
another
2,
level. It's
3,
like a
4.
ladder.
Yeah.
The energy here is horizontal. The energy out of here is vertical.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to go higher here. So you have to get out of here.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's very horizontal here. It's like, oh God, like quicksand. Until you can learn that you could be detached here, but you can still enjoy it. So you could be in this world here, but you're not of this world.
Yeah, it's just like, it's more
the human condition is tough.
But if you treat it like I'm playing a role, I'm playing Laura, and I'm like, these are my circumstances, and just try to have some fun with it.
Absolutely.
And not take it so, it's hard not to take it personal, but like, I've learned to some level of detachment from like all the things happening.
If you don't learn it, they'll teach you.
Yeah. It was forced. It was, but eventually I get the message. Yeah.
We don't want to go. We'll go kicking and screaming. I can have a personality of a 1, but that doesn't mean I'm out there and doing this and doing that. No, in fact, I'm not a big join. I don't join. I just don't join.
Yeah.
I'm always over here somewhere. Like even a party, and you must know as a 9, you could be there, but you're not really there.
Mm-hmm.
You're over here. You're watching this, and you're talking and blah, blah, but you're here. So you never feel you fit there.
Yeah.
You never feel you fit here because you don't belong here.
That's I have always felt like a stranger in a strange land.
That's right. You will feel like you're foreign.
Yeah.
That's right. That's a 9.
Yay.
It's like, oh, okay. I'm all right. And I'm like, and then I'm amazed at what people get so excited about. Because if you've been here a lot and you don't have missing numbers, like, what's the big deal? Why do you have to, is that really that big? Okay, it's big, so what? But a lot of people get really worked up over stuff that they can't control, they can't do anything about, and yet, blah, blah, blah.
Well, especially right now. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm like, I am mastering the art of detachment, especially right now.
Well, right now you have a lot of masculine energy going on. You in 2024 you started the leap period, the Lai period, whatever you want to call it in Chinese, for in Feng Shui and in the I Ching is the period of the rise of the middle-aged female. So she started really off. The prep was 20 years of 2000 to 2024, and now 2024 to 2044 she rises in power. So this is her first year. So you're seeing
of the female energy,
female power growing, and
Yeah.
you're seeing this huge ending of the male. So they're really dominant. They're very Aries. They're just that, and they're podcasts here and loud, and they're obnoxious, and it's all masculine stuff. But it's going to destroy itself.
The pendulum always swings.
Yeah, it's going to it's in the process in doing all this energy out there. It literally burns itself up.
Yeah.
So this other energy, like the Venus energy, is gradually coming through and rising, and it cannot be stopped. This cannot. It's going to keep going. So women get very discouraged. Don't get discouraged. No. It's already in place.
Our time is coming.
It is. It's in place.
Yeah.
It's. You have to see beyond this illusion of all these men and these stupid things they say. It's like, oh my goodness. A lot of the podcast stuff. It's like anything else. It has to burn itself out. But it's unpleasant.
Yeah.
Because the other energy is coming right behind it. And anyway, the Aquarius age, which is about 2,000 years, is rising. And that is very rational thinking and detached. And that's what's building. And so a lot of this.
Well, it's also, isn't it more community based? Aren't we entering
it can
a more
be.
like
it can be.
I think we came out of a very patriarchal.
Well, that was the Piscean age, and it was
ambitious, money, like keeping up with the Joneses kind of vibe.
But it was by Piscean energy, which was 2,000 years based on fear. So it was controlled by religions and fear.
Right.
And so this is what's leaving, and it was very patriarchal.
Yes.
And we came out of 1,000 years of the number 1. 1900, we just finished that all up. So we go into the 2, which is 1,000 year of the unit of the female for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So she's just getting going. So everybody relax, just continue to be involved and stop saying, I can't do anything except carry a sign. That's crazy.
And so would you say next year is something for people to be looking forward to?
Yeah, they should look forward to 2026. 2025 it's a very tough year.
It is. It's a lot of change.
It's really exhausting. And people are going to get tired. I would say by the middle of 2026, you're going to start seeing some of the changes you want to see. And some people will not be there that are there now, And
a lot of change.
And a lot of change. So this is a hard year, and there's a lot of braggadocious going on and obnoxious. But again, they're going to burn themselves out as this other rises. So 2026 will be a better year.
Yeah, easier.
It'll be easier.
We just have to get through this year and not get too riled up about what's happening that we can't control and focus on what we can control.
Yeah, it's terribly true and terribly important. I have to learn this because there's so many things that go on right now. As I was saying, my husband had a very bad accident, brain injury, and he just got double pneumonia and was in a coma, and now he's coming back to life again, and I can't do anything about it. So I actually sat in the emergency room Sunday night. It was like 1, 2 in the morning, and I'm like, well, I can't do anything about this. If he's going, and I have to surrender. And you have to, I said, okay, God, it's not mine. You talk it over, Richard, with what you want to do, whether you want to stay, whether you leave, and I surrender. And I went home that night. I didn't sleep a wink. But gradually he came back to life. And I said to him yesterday, because he's very slurred speech.
And she still came here today, folks.
Yeah, and I said to him, well, we were all afraid we're going to lose you. And he said, I just paused. That's what he said. I just paused. So I'm like, really? That was a pause? I'm like, good
are
God.
you trying to freak me out?
Freak me out
with your pauses?
With the paramedics, and it was just awful. And the 104 fever, it's just awful. Everything was out. It was a goner. And the fact that I even said, should we do this? Like that? You do it. You have to do a do not resuscitate thing, which so I had no control. Yeah. No control. And then when you learn, I've lived long enough that there's just, I can't do anything about this. So if you could teach people what you're learning, which is letting go and surrendering, it's very tough.
Yeah. Well, as you know, my mom just passed.
Yeah. When did she die?
The Super Bowl was on a Sunday,
February?
and she died at 3 a.m. the next morning.
Wow, so it's
on a
very,
Monday
very new.
After, so the 10th.
That's really hard because I really feel that mother love, for the most part, is very unconditional. Now we had
a complicated relationship. I'm not going to lie.
We have bad relationships with a lot of mothers, but it is still something that you aspire to have. Is that relationship with the mother? If you didn't have it, you wanted it, and now it's gone.
And it's been a weird journey for me because mostly my father's my biggest, he's devastated, and my brother.
Oh dear.
And so I'm taking care of them, like I suddenly need to step in and be the matriarch, you know what I mean?
And they look to you for that.
And I'm coming home and cooking for them and trying to,
oh gosh.
and dealing with, then there's all the stuff. I don't know if you did with your husband, like a living trust.
Oh yeah,
and all
I have
that stuff.
all that.
Yeah, so dealing with all that because my father assumed that my mother would go first. And so he did everything set up that way. So now he has to go, he's redoing all the
papers.
Yes. So, and then my brother and I have to participate in some of that.
Well, you do, because you have to. It's stuff we don't want to take care of that, and having all this there's stuff I just don't want to do it. But I got to do it, and I just don't like to do it. But I got to do it. I got to do it again and again and again.
But I have to say, I went into this year so ambitious with all these plans, and I had all this stuff like ready to go, and then boom, my mom died, and I had everything had to just like stop, and I had to drop everything and then just go be with my family.
That's right.
And then now, I don't know. So it's just been a weird year, and I think I was.
Well, the year is really basically hardly getting going. January is a dead month. People are they're hungover, and then February things start to kind of like come back to life, but March they start to come back to life.
Well, I think April is really our
and we have a weird month of March
because we have Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, and 2 eclipses this month.
It's really, you can feel it.
You can
feel it. It's unpleasant.
So I'm just going with the flow. I'm like, okay, universe,
that's good.
What you got for me?
You're right.
And I'm just in full acceptance. I'm like, okay, I'm just doing what. This isn't the time to say this is happening. I'm going to do this. It's like, no, I'm letting the universe tell me what's happening.
Yeah, that's very smart. That's very wise. And if you can teach that, because you are a teacher with that 9, that's teaching. That is really a teacher.
Yes.
And so you have a lot to teach people. And we teach through entertainment.
Sure.
And we teach through example. So watch what a person does, not what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And all that other stuff you've heard, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. So you walk the color, you walk the outfits, you walk your talk, you look terrific. You're going to do very, very well.
Oh, you're so sweet.
But it's true. If you knew me better, you'll know that if it's something that is really true and real, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't go around make them feel I'm the opposite. I'm like, why are you wearing that? That doesn't really, could we do something better?
Well, last year I took, I did an additional certification in what's called fashion feng shui.
Yeah.
And people don't realize, like, you feng shui your home, you feng shui your outfit.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I mean?
Look at this. I feel like I'm dressed for the Arctic.
3 different outfits for you. I put a video up. I'm like, which outfit should I wear? And I didn't wear either of the outfits I thought I was going to wear.
Looks great.
This was my last minute. I'm like, I'm going to wear this for Gail.
It looks terrific. I loved it. As soon as you open the door, it's like, oh, yay.
I wanted to look like a lady. My other dresses were a little shorter, and I was like,
it looks so nice. and then I look like I'm going camping.
No, you're warm and cozy, and you were at the hospital.
I was in the hospital. I don't want to get. I just had surgery 4 weeks ago, so
you look amazing. And you're so energetic.
Have all my stitches done. I went yesterday to the doctor. I said, "Aren't they all dissolved?" He said, "No, you still."
Oh no!
I said, well, "It's so painful. Can't you please?" So he recommended a couple of things. I'm like, okay,
to dissolve them.
So he said, "Yeah, wait another week or 2." I'm like, "Really? 6 weeks to dissolve these things?" But that's what it is, and I can't do any more than just like you.
But
I got to
honestly,
work with it.
you're so vibrant for someone who just had a major surgery
Yeah.
and dealing with your husband. I mean,
I know.
I mean,
I sometimes feel, I remember back in the 80s, I used to be called a walk-in, and I don't know what they're talking about.
No, I know what this is.
And I said, what the heck are you talking about?
But when did you walk in, I wonder?
She said, yeah. She said, well, you're a walk-in. I'm like, wow. And then a couple other people said it. I'm like, what does that mean? And you can't really find walk-ins. You can't go read on walk-ins. And I don't even know if it's true, but it would have happened in the 80s.
I've actually read about it, and I do believe in it, and I can see like it almost seems like you have a very young, like energetic energy. I know you're in a more mature vessel, but your vessel
I'm in an 84-year-old vessel.
84?
I'm 84.
Good God, you look amazing.
Yeah, 84. I actually went to the dermatology for something else, and she said, well, have you had a facelift? I said, no.
You're like, not yet.
Not yet. And then I priced them out, and I'm like, they're a bloody fortune, $20-some thousand. So that is out of the question. And but all I really need is a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
If I could have that tonight and a few nights.
And I'm going to show you something. There's something called light therapy. You just sit in front of like a red light.
Oh yeah, I do that. I had a friend who used to do that.
It's like it's non-surgical. It's perfectly natural. It's really good, and it builds a collagen and elastin. You just sit in front of it, and it has all these other healing properties. It's like,
oh, that's great.
I'll show you. I have one, and you can buy one. Like I bought one that's technically for plants, but it's the same freaking
well, you're
thing.
A plant.
Yeah,
we're just planting.
I'm a living plant. Yeah,
we're like, hey, thank you and blah, blah, blah. And I talked to the plant like it was a living, breathing thing in my room.
And the reality of our homes is that they are living, breathing 3D vision boards, and everything is alive. Like now science is all the spiritual stuff is being eventually ultimately proven by science, but it's all happening, like energy's happening, and the plants obviously are alive. We get that, but so is this table and this chair.
Yeah, well, everything is just the construction is harder, but it's a rock is a living, it's minerals and
colors of vibration and a frequency.
She has beautiful roses sitting here. I don't know, you can't see them, but
I can show them.
They're beautiful. Look at these beautiful roses.
This is my mom's vase. I took
That's
from
lovely.
Yeah.
A nice crystal lead vase.
I'm obsessed with Jesus lately.
Oh, there you go.
I got a little Jesus candle and
that's good.
This Gothic cross.
And take all the help you can get.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm totally into it. If that works, great.
Listen, if it's a death and rebirth here, I am
totally
leaning into spirit, leaning in.
Mm-hmm.
But back to our main overarching theme about numerology and you, Gail. You have a YouTube channel.
I have a YouTube channel, which is Gail Minogue, YouTube at Gail Minogue.
Yes, and I'll have it on the screen. I'll put it in the notes.
Yeah,
and everything.
It's an Irish last name, even though people think
like
it's
Kyle
French.
Minogue.
Yeah, like Kyle Minogue.
Kyle Minogue, the singer. Kylie Minogue.
Yeah, Kylie Minogue.
That's how I thought of it when I first saw your name.
Gail Minogue, middle name Kathleen, so it's very Irish, and and the name. It's really interesting how our names go down through historical records. But I had to call for some reason New York City, and I got this professor at NYU. And she started to talk to me about, did I understand my last name? And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, it was, she said, actually, it's a very old name. And when the Normans invaded Ireland, because everybody invaded Ireland, they changed the spelling and put a UE on it. But it used to have an O in front, and it was Mineog. And that was how you spelled it. And they changed all the spelling of all the Irish names. And so, but she said it means monk. In Gaelic, it means monk. And it's from, if you go back in history, the Minoan culture of Greece was invaded and destroyed. And many of these people escaped, and they hid the history in the peat bogs of Ireland. So the name is actually from the island of Minos. And in Spanish, it's Munos. So it's the same. If you go into the Minoan culture, you will find me sitting around in there somewhere. But it's always a history on our names.
Yeah. Carrillo is mine.
Yeah. Oh, see? So did you do the history of your name?
I mean, it's a very common Spanish name.
Find out.
But yeah, I'll do the history.
Yeah,
but
do the history.
But it's almost like the Smith of like Spain.
Like the Jones.
Carrillo. Yeah. There's a Carrillo Street in Santa Barbara. Every time I go by it, I was just like, oh, it's Carrillo Street.
Yeah. If you go up to San Francisco, which you used to live there.
Yeah.
It's very big, the Mission District and a lot of Spanish. It's all around there in San Francisco.
Yeah. There's a lot of Spanish names.
Yeah, wonderful.
So you can find Gail at Gail Minogue on YouTube, and she's also on Instagram. Though
I'm not on Instagram. My daughter put me on Instagram, and
because I saw it, and I tagged you on something, and you didn't like.
I don't do anything, and I'm like,
that's your daughter, okay?
Because I came out of my 7 year, I didn't do anything. I came out of the darkness, and now I'm in my 8 year. So now I want to build. So I'm coming back to life, shall I say, doing programs, and I just did a big Zoom thing Saturday. Had about 50 people on it. We did the trends and 25, 26. And America is in a very tough position from 2015 to 2033.
Yeah.
It's very bad. And so she has to go through these changes to create a new life for itself. So it will feel like it's going to destroy itself. That's what it feels like for a lot of people.
It's like this is the cocoon period before the butterfly.
This is the destructive period.
Oh.
Yeah, it hasn't really built the cocoon yet. It's
so
destroying.
We're not even in the cocoon.
No. We're destroying.
Oh, Gail, I don't want to hear that.
Now we're.
Do you want hope? We need to give them something hopeful.
We had to get through the 9 year universal. That's this year.
Okay.
So get through this, and we start a new way next year. Say the middle of next year. Say June of next year.
June of next year, things start to get
better, lighter.
We
don't have to be so crazy like it is right now.
Yeah, I'm done with the doom and gloom. I'm just not doing it. I cannot participate. I cannot participate.
Just don't read it. Don't listen. Just
la 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 la.
Exactly. Right.
that's like my new mantra. La 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 la. So okay,
you can find me there. I do babies readings. If you're going to name a baby, very important to know this before the baby's born.
And if it's a girl, put an O at the
beginning. Put that first vowel. Yes,
the first vowel.
If you want a powerful guy, put an O.
Owen.
Owen.
Yeah.
John, Thomas, all that.
Olivia.
That's a good one.
There's one.
There you go. So, but these are not like common, ordinary girls' names,
No, but Olivia's a pretty name.
It's a very pretty name.
Olive.
Okay. Cocktail.
But that is a girl's name. I actually know somebody with that name.
Olive? Wow.
I'm trying to think. Ophelia.
There you go.
There's a name. But those are girls' names. And
So I do that. I do location sessions. If somebody's just going to move, you need to do this.
Send them to me also.
Okay.
I want them to get the numerology from you, but then for the situation, like the actual space and the floor plan.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they could have great numerology and be missing a bunch of guas. So
true.
You want
it's something
the whole
you
thing.
Combine it.
Yeah.
And their timing is essential.
Yes.
Maybe you just have to wait till next year to move. I had 3 clients in 1 year who all of them were in 7 years. They're all personal 7 years.
Yeah, so they needed to chill out.
And they were supposed to chill out. One decided she's going to sell her house no matter what. And I said, no, wait till next year. No, I want to sell this house. And so she gets up on a ladder.
Persistent. Oh, I saw this story on YouTube that you've done.
Yeah, and she gets up on this ladder to change a bulb in this high ceiling. She falls off the ladder. She gets trauma surgery on her shoulder, 19 pins.
That'll slow her down.
So she was out till the following spring. And that's when she sold her house, which was the following year. Another guy fell off his roof in the ice and snow in Chicago, broke his hip, and he was out 5 months. So you can't, you can't push in a 7 year. Another friend, she was a trader in the pit in Chicago, and she, you stand up and you're always standing and yelling and whatever. And she sprained her ankle. And I told her, I said, wait 3 months, you're going to be out of this. She didn't. And she sprained her ankle. She couldn't stand. So I'll tell you, if you don't want to go down, they'll make you sick, so you'll go down.
Timing is everything. No, I've learned. That's why I follow astrology and numerology and all the things, because it actually makes life so much easier when you're like, oh, this just isn't the right time.
Yeah.
So I should you focus on what you can be productive doing during that time. There's always something you can focus on. For me, I'm focusing on my family and certain things and myself and just and my this too. But I've got a different perspective on it. I'm just like, I'm only going to do shows and content that I'm really passionate about. That I feel could be helpful I'm not doing any doom and gloom, blah, blah. No, that's just not my vibe.
Yeah, well, you remember, the 9 is always about relieving suffering, improving the human condition.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you look at your life that way, relieving suffering and improving the human condition and letting go, and it's amazing if you let it go, what comes back to you is great usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and so focus on like your family was more important than any other thing at this time. Yeah, and everything is in its own season.
yeah, and I think my mom's passing has brought me closer. I mean, I was always close to my dad, but like brought me closer to my brother. And now we're going to get our dual citizenship.
That's wonderful.
And
that's a great idea.
Possibly move to Spain in the coming years. Who knows?
Well, you can have dual residence. You can have here and you there. When I say about you do what you need to do now instead of what I wanted to do or what you thought you wanted to do, it's all going to be in. It's
setting a foundation. Like I'm letting the universe dictate. Like, oh, okay, well, this is different than I thought, but it's not bad necessarily.
Right.
It's just different.
Yeah, you've got this whole future ahead. Not to worry. We may be out of here tomorrow afternoon.
Who knows? Your book.
Yeah.
Divine Design.
Divine, how you created the life you're living. That's the full title.
And it is still in print, and you can get it on Amazon.
You can't get it. I don't sell it on Amazon anymore.
I bought mine on Amazon. Maybe it was a used copy.
You probably got a used copy.
I did.
Yeah.
You can find used copies on Amazon, but if you want to buy a new copy,
you have to come to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's on your website?
Yes.
And
you can order a session, and then the next Zoom program is going to be May 3rd.
Okay.
That's going to be, it's probably an hour and a half. I have to figure out what we're going to discuss. But if you want to get on my mail list, I don't sell it or anything in my mail list. But the thing about it is you'll know when the next event is going to take place.
Okay. And then tell them your website.
It's gailminogue.com.
Very simple.
Very simple.
Yeah. And I'll have all the links in.
Yeah.
And you guys should check out our book. Because
really easy.
I go to it when I'm working with clients. I go to it when I'm, looking
it's your handy dandy. It makes a great gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving. You'll use it for the rest of your life. And we hadn't gotten into this, but we're going to wrap this up now.
Yes.
There's pinnacles or these time zone that each one of us has. It's based on our date of birth. The last pinnacle usually is somewhere midlife, like 46 or 50 to however you decide to stay.
Until you die.
Until you leave.
Yeah, it's the last pinnacle, so there's 4 of them. You never really
die. You leave the body here.
Yeah.
And you just get out of here.
Till you exit stage left.
Till you exit, right.
Yes.
And you take everything you learned with you. So we have to behave ourselves better. Anyway, so you add the month, you add the month to the year of birth and you get the final pinnacle. And so that's how, like, I'm ending up with an 8. I've been in an 8 since 50. And I'm into this 8 pinnacle for the rest of my life. And you have to look at, so you're born in a 3 month in a 1969, right?
Yeah.
1, 9, 10, 16. Okay. So that's a 7. Then you add that to the month, which is 3. So it's a 1.
Yeah.
So you're in a 1 pinnacle. I'm in an 8 pinnacle. So they're both about really being very engaged.
Yeah, and
life.
You would think that in the later years you would be slowing down, whereas with me, I noticed
your second half of your life is extremely busy.
And I remember I went to an astrologer once and also a psychic, and they were like, I'm a late bloomer, basically. Like it all kind of, I feel like, I don't know, like it's a whole new life. Like I feel
the 9 is, the 9 is really ageless. It's the final number. It's, if you've learned to work with it, it's really terrific.
Yeah, no, it's fun now. Earlier, I didn't like being young. I did not enjoy this part of life. I'm actually like, thank God that got all that shit over with. Like, I'm so glad that part's over.
You're taking care of yourself too.
Yeah.
And 9, one of the things about a 9, they always look younger than their age.
Yeah.
It goes because
I get that a lot.
People don't guess your age if you have a 9, because you are given that gift so that you will attract people to you that you can then serve.
Yeah.
So I've
been doing a lot of serving.
An ugly person who looks old and withered is not going to attract that many people to serve them as someone who's attractive or young looking or has that energy. So 9s usually are very charismatic, and they have that and that the reason that they have that it is so that they will attract the people.
So you can help, but
So that you can help.
attract more people to
Yes, anytime
help.
you have a prominent 9, destiny, life path, even personality, they usually are somehow in the theater. But the 9
Yeah, I think I have double 9.
always looks younger than their age, which is a blessing. And you have Capricorn, that would mean great skin.
I'm obsessed with skincare. I worked for a skincare company for a while.
It's really amazing because it.
What's the largest organ in your body?
Well, in a Capricorn, it rules the joints, the skin, the ligaments. The most part, wonderful skin, and always with a nice, terrific combination. So you look, when you're 80, you'll look young.
Great.
See, there you go. So
just like you.
We should wrap this up. Yeah,
yes,
I just need a good night's sleep and less pressure.
Thank you so much for
coming.
So
I get to go on the freeway now.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
You guys got to get her book, Divine Design.
Oh, you have to
check
get
out
the
her
book.
YouTube channel,
You
subscribe, and take some of her classes and all the things. And thank you.
Yeah, May 3rd is the next one.
Yes.
Saturday. They're always Saturday at 11 Pacific time.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Many blessings and ciao for now.
Okay. Thank you.